Hey, everybody, what's up? What's going on? Happy Thursday to you and yours. The Ragni Show is live. It's the first time we've done one of these. It's an actual online book launch party, which, hey, that's pretty exciting. That's a huge thing, and it's not just going on right now here in the United States. We're going around the world because we got people from all over the world that were contributors to this book, authors, and the book is called The Blood of, and I'm going to say it wrong already. So Nick, back me up on this. The Blood of
Eziliath? No,
Eziliath.
I told you I've never heard it pronounced until very recently because I was just reading it. So yeah, we're gonna work through this together, buddy.
There you go. Well, as he said, my buddy, my good friend, my longtime good friend, my co-host for many years of Totally German Radio, Mr. Nick Wilkinson, who was a well-rounded, accomplished author, and we've been talking a lot about all these books he's been contributing to and working on himself when with Black Ink Publishing as well. And we have another book here, and this one it's literally a launch party for this because we have, like we said, we have so many authors, and we have Nick's gonna um, give us the background of the book, and then we're gonna bring some of the authors on and talk about it and get the whole story scoop. But it is available right now on Amazon.com, so you can get it now, you can get it later, you can get it anytime you want, but it's there. So go do that, and the link is down below in the description. So you can just click it and go. So Nick, all right. So how did this all? How much of your hand was involved in the background of this book?
Okay, so absolutely none.
Wow. Okay.
So
Okay.
right, so the book was conceptualized and the stories were written and all put together before I came on board. I came on board because I just I have a passion for promoting. I have a
Okay.
passion for the authors that we work with and kind of getting their words out there because I believe that if their words get out there, what is the phrase, a rising tide or raises all ships, you know what I
There you
mean?
go. There you
and
go.
and it's beneficial for Black Ink, it's beneficial for me, you know what I mean? And so there is some selfishness definitely in there. But I came on board just to help promote, to help spread the social media word, stuff
That's
like
awesome.
that. And hopefully we do that. The numbers look pretty good as far as our first day rankings, so I'm
Oh,
really
good.
hopeful. And these authors, they deserve it. It's absolutely a breathtaking book. Every story stands out. I have some favorites, but honestly, it's if you're into mythology, especially, this is something that is brand new, but also inherently familiar, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Now, you said about the first day ranking. So when did the book officially come out?
The book comes out today. It came out today. I'm
Awesome.
unaware of what the actual numbers are right now, but because I'm doing this live on my phone. But I know I saw this morning Charlotte posted something. It was like right around the 100 to 200 in one of the
Wow.
books. So that's awesome. That's you know what I mean. It couldn't happen to a more deserving group of people.
That's awesome. So before you actually came on board with this whole um, thing, and like you said, you didn't actually write any of these stories.
Right. Yeah.
Um, we're going to talk about the promotion end because that's where you're involved in for this one.
Right.
Before we bring on our first guest, what do you think is the best way to approach that? I mean, that's pretty huge if you think about it. To for an independent book to get that high of a ranking on the first day. So what do you think was like the key that really helped that?
Honestly, and a lot of the our guests that come on are authors, that have had multiple stories and multiple books. Even there's a couple that also have like their own series of novels. And I mean, these are some
Wow.
hardcore writers. Like they put me to shame. You know what I mean? And they'll all tell you the same thing. It's it's tough. It's There isn't a single right answer. So what I did was, because I'm trying to prove myself to Black Ink, you know what I mean, that I
Hmm.
can help make a difference. And what I did was, we did promo videos, we did a teaser trailer, we did all kinds of stuff on social media, Instagram, Facebook. I don't have TikTok, so I didn't do anything on TikTok. We also I reached out to tons of people about reading an advanced copy and then leaving a review today. I think we
Okay.
already have 3 reviews the last time I checked, from 2 or 3 different countries already. So that's
Wow.
awesome. And I think every single one of those things, pre-orders, like we did in the event page and on Facebook, we left the link so you could pre-order the book. That also matters. So, getting out there, and it's hard with authors, the author in me is a very internal person. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like, but the podcaster in me is a very outgoing person. But I learned that from you. You know what I mean? And that wasn't something that came natural to me. So I just felt like maybe I had a little bit of knowledge that I could also impart on these other authors and help them get to that promotional side, to that, a lot of us feel like we're bothering our family and friends and our
Yeah.
fans because we're spamming the Facebook, and we're constantly posting links, and we're constantly asking you to buy our next book. But like, I don't care about any of that. They need to buy my stuff. I'm not writing it for them not to read it. You know what I mean? Like, so I just wanted to, like, I could be that guy. If they don't want to be that guy, I can be that guy. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like I had some skills to share, and I really just wanted to, do something with it.
Let me ask you this before we bring our first author on, Charlotte. Um, you mentioned about comments on, or reviews, I should say, on
Yes.
Amazon that were already left. And I've heard you talk about it a lot over the years, and I've heard other people, that I've spoke with that are, promoting books or what have you on Amazon. And it almost sounds like that is like the whole key, kind of like to trigger the algorithm is,
Right.
and it shows how important it is for people to leave reviews for, you know, authors of books on Amazon, just like it is to leave comments on a YouTube or something, because it really does help and triggers that algorithm to bring, it's like it makes the cream rise to the top. So
Yeah.
I can't
Absolutely.
stress enough
Engagement is
that
engagement.
people need to do that. Yeah, exactly. People really need to do that. They don't, something that can literally, you know, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, under a minute to do can be so probably much more important than even actually buying the actual book is leaving that comment. So
And,
people really need
and
to
like, look, dude,
start doing that more.
you know how good it feels as an author to go onto Amazon, to go to your comments section, and see somebody that took the time to write your name or your story's
Sure.
name and be like, I like this for this many reasons. Like, it's there, when there are days as an author that you're sitting there at the computer banging your head off the keyboard because the words won't come out. Like, that's the stuff that you read to get your
Right.
mind back in line. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what keeps you going, and it's so important. It really is
It is.
support. And if you want to
Hmm.
support your authors out there, man, leave comments, leave reviews, just engage. And yeah,
That's the
so
key.
we're
Engage.
going to bring Charlotte on, and she'll tell you more about the actual story and the concept and how it all came together, because this is her baby. So,
Hey,
Hi,
Charlotte,
hi
how are
there.
you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you guys?
Very good. So where are you coming in from? What I hear the accent. What country are you in?
Yeah, I'm from the north of England.
Wow, that's amazing. Isn't it pretty crazy? Like we can just like now talk to people all around the world, and the quality is so good. It's just amazing.
It is brilliant. It helps a lot. I've got friends all over the world, and without things like this, you wouldn't be able to keep in touch with them.
Right, right. Well, welcome here to the United States officially now.
Thank you.
So, how did you first off get involved with this particular book?
It was kind of my project.
Okay.
So I'd done several projects that I was involved in, and I had this idea for this one that I really wanted to take the lead on, because it was kind of my book baby, I guess. I'm really into mythology and all those old sorts of tales and legends, and I just thought it would be really interesting to have an anthology that was built in a shared world and that kind of had more of a like an ancient Greek kind of vibe to it, as opposed to the more traditional medieval. So yeah, it kind of came from that.
So, so you were, I guess, kind of instrumental then in also rounding up the other authors for the story as well, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So,
brought everyone together.
so I'm guessing everybody previously from working with them, or?
Some, not all. Some were sort of suggested to me for the project. For example, Melody, who's well known for having a really strong interest in mythology. So I had to sort of reach out to her, obviously, and she's been brilliant. Yeah, so some I knew, others were suggested to me. Some sort of emailed me snippets of writing and said, "Hey, I'd like to be involved." It was really, really cool.
How long of a process was this whole thing to put together?
Oh my god, like ages. It's
Really?
been a couple of years, really. Yeah.
Really?
So yeah. So I like to kind of hammer things out and be organized if I can, because I can be a bit ditzy if I don't try to be organized. So I put everything together with sort of the overarching idea and the background information that any of the writers would need. And I made sure that was sort of laid out ready for them when they came on board. Wanted to give them plenty of time to write the story that they wanted to write. And then the editing process was quite a long one, because with it being a shared world, they're not just individual standalone stories. Obviously, there's a connection and a build-up, and doing that editing involved checking for consistency. Sort of, oh, you've put that in that story and that contradicts what's in this story. So let's get our heads together and work out what will make it even. But yeah, it was really interesting and a really good experience, not just in editing, but as a writer as well. Like, it's just been brilliant.
So after the few years of doing this, putting this all together, and now your release day is finally here, how does that feel?
Amazing. It's really, really exciting.
That's
and
awesome.
I've actually, I have a book here, and look how pretty it is. Oh.
That's awesome.
You can tell I'm not
the
good with
cover really is outstanding.
I'm like, where's the camera?
We
It's
can
fab,
see it
isn't it?
perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, well, Brandy Black Ink, because she's just done a really good job with it. It's brilliant.
That's awesome. So your part of the story, like where does that take place in the book? Is it like towards the beginning, or do you wrap it up? Where does your particular spot come in?
Mine's right at the end to tie everything together. So I wrote the final story in it and a short epilogue.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, were you one of the ones that was going to read some of it for us, or?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
All right.
I have the book.
Absolutely. She has the book.
So I can actually.
Well, feel free. The floor is yours. That is awesome.
Thank you. He'd finally done it. 3 decades of plotting and planning, of sowing seeds here and reaping favours there. 3 decades of bowing and scraping to serve his fool of a father, of fawning and fussing and playing his part, all the while never showing his true feelings. That was all over now. Talos admired his reflection in the diamond-framed mirror hanging in midair before him. The golden godblood of Torish splattered the clothes and face he wore to contain his true form. He licked his lips and tasted power. Laughter bubbled inside his chest. He might be the youngest of Torish's 9 sons, but his brothers would never have achieved their freedom without him. They had been content to fester in the dark depths of the below, feeding on lost souls and stolen shadows. Talos had changed all that, manipulated their emotions, orchestrated their treachery, meted out the first and last blows against their father. Now the world was at their feet. He turned to study the sleeping body in the heart of the mountain. Their grandfather had tried to stop them, but he underestimated the power they'd accrued in the below. Eziliath had felt the death of his son and come to unleash his wrath upon those responsible. Instead, Talos and his brothers confined the king of the gods to an unnatural sleep. Trapped within his own mind and surrounded by layers of dark magic, he would not awaken, not as long as they lived. First, they would conquer Hecalus, gain strength by feeding on the mortals, taking sustenance from their fear and pain. The thought stirred his blood, made his eyes spark. The other gods, his aunts and uncles, believed there were some in Hecalus who could defeat the 9 sons, 9 daughters of Eziliath who would rise up to save their father. Talos hoped they would try. The soul of a demigod would be a sweet treat indeed. His brothers had already left, each to one of the 9 lands of Hecalus, to face one of the 9 daughters of Eziliath. He had chosen to journey to Olamedes. He knew nothing about the place, other than human souls were plentiful and laced with sin, filled with a delicious blend of darkness and light. And the demigod? A trace of her power was all it took to fire his pursuit. Using magic gained from his mother, he'd raided the minds of the mortals in Olamedes. What he found intrigued him even more. There was darkness in her too, a darkness that called to him. His borrowed lips curved into a twisted smile. He'd kill her or fuck her, or both. In every way, he'd own her. Ephorine. He rolled her name across his tongue. Yes, there was power to be gained in the mortal world. Hecalus was ripe for the picking, and the sons of Torish would reap its rewards. After that, even the gods above would beg for mercy.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
That
I
was
thought I'd leave it there and not give too
that-
much away.
Yeah, that was awesome. Have you done like live readings before? Because you should be like
the odd time. Thank you. I used to be a teacher. That's probably my projecting voice.
I don't. It's not just that. It's
That was
like
awesome.
when you have an author that's reading the story that they wrote, especially you all of the nuance. You know exactly how you want it to be said. So you did a really good job with like the emotional storytelling, just with your voice and your inflection and stuff. It
Right.
really is. It was. I had so much fun doing the teaser trailers because every single one of them just did an outstanding job with their readings.
Thank you. They did, didn't they? They were really, really good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Charlotte, since this is your baby, I think you should like hang out with us if you want while we bring everybody else on.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I
happy
know
to
you
hang
said
out.
you have some other stuff.
Yeah, I might have to rush off unexpectedly. I have a little one who doesn't sleep particularly well, but if I disappear, that's why.
Okay. What time is it over there right now?
It's about 9:15 at night.
Okay. Well, hopefully he'll stay asleep. All right. Next, we're going to bring David Green to the party. David, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? Hey, Charlotte.
Hey.
Good. Now, where are you at, David?
I am in between you guys and Charlotte. I'm in Ireland, so I'm the next stopover.
Look at that. We are truly around the globe today. What time is it over there for you?
Same time. We're in the same
time?
time zone as England. Yeah.
Okay,
Although
cool.
technically, I'm in Galway, and we have like an extension on our time zone, so that we're in the same time zone as the rest of everyone else, but we should be in our own one. So, there's a little fun fact for you there about Galway.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, how did you get to be a part of this? Did you know Charlotte previously, or?
Yeah, we'd kind of done a few things kind of in the same anthologies together for a few things, and then I was working for a time at a publishing place, and I'd read a lot of Charlotte's stuff. I always liked it, and I don't know. She just asked me, so she must have read something of mine that she liked, I guess. But I don't know what that was. But yeah, she just asked me, and yeah, she asked me, and it was a really good idea. And I'd wanted to work with her anyway because I really liked. She wrote this, especially this adventure story that she wrote for something that had like it was kind of like this mad island that had like dinosaurs on it and other stuff, which it was great. So I was kind of wanted to work with her for a while. So when she asked, it was a no-brainer, really.
That's awesome. Now, your part, where at in the book does it fall into place?
So my one is pretty much in the middle of the book. I think it's like it's page 100. Actually, dead on. So yeah, pretty much in the middle. So it's chapter 5.
It is the middle story.
It's the middle story. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, I get to. I'm probably at the point where people are like, I'm ready for something. I don't know. This better still be being good, and if it's bad, it's my fault.
It's not bad. I can promise that.
Now, as one of the contributing authors, do you get to like read the other stories when they're all completed, or you have to wait to see how the story starts and then your piece falls into the puzzle and then how it wraps up?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think. This was a long time ago when we did this. So yeah, it was it's a long time. A lot has happened since. So Charlotte set up a group that we were all in. So there was like a lot of like kind of pooling of ideas and what people were kind of interested in, and ran those ideas by Charlotte and like kind of pitches really. And if it was a bit too similar to what other people were doing, she would say, I presume. Mine wasn't, thankfully, so it was all right.
They were all different.
They're all different. So yes, we went away and wrote them, and there was like kind of little chats about like from back and forth about stuff. But yeah, once people were kind of finished with them, they kind of ran them past Charlotte, who give us feedback on them. And I think some people posted them into the group for people to read as well, in case they wanted to see them.
Okay.
It depends on what some people are like. Some people like to dive. I mean, I've run a couple of these kind of group anthologies before, and some people like to dive right in there and get them off the bat. Some people like to develop it over a bit of time, and then some people like to read everyone else's and then just go, okay, I need to do something in the last week before this is due. So I was somewhere in between those. I think I was in the middle, where I was like, just keep having a think about it and everything like that. But it was good. It was a good process, and like Charlotte's feedback and everything was excellent as well. Just to kind of pull a little bit more out of the story, and just to kind of make sure there was like some common kind of themes and subjects and stuff like that between everyone else's.
When you're getting involved with these like group books like this, have you ever had a time where you start writing and you like all of a sudden you just get so carried away with it, like I could just like write the whole freaking thing of myself?
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Like that's one of the things about it, is that you have to kind of just it's not for everyone, these kind of things, especially when it's a shared world one, because
Sure.
you've got to be working with other people, and you've got to respect other people's process and other people's works and opinions. And if you're not the leader of the group, which obviously it comes with its own pros and cons. If you are if it's your project, it comes with a lot of good things, a lot of bad things, and a lot of challenges. But if you're just one of the writers that are in it, you've really got to be able to take direction, and you've got to be able to put your words into someone else's vision. I mean, it's still your story. Like, Charlotte was very much like, do your thing and everything, but it's within this framework, which is stuff that she provided, like, the overriding story and the world that she created and everything like that. So it's always fun, and you kind of like, whenever you work on any character, you kind of you always wonder, like, I wonder what they were doing before this, and if they survive, what are they going to do after this, and what's going to happen with this bit of the world and everything. But you have to really be a collaborator with this kind of thing, and say it's not for everyone.
I guess though it kind of teaches you a lot though about being an author, because you're getting to contribute with each other and bounce ideas, and just working, it might open your mind and your eyes to things that you might not have done, talking with one of the other authors.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I always enjoy them. I've done a few of them. I've not done this was probably actually the last one that I've done shared world-wise. And actually, Charlotte edited another one that I put together. She was the editor for it, and that was again another shared world, which was really, really good. It was a great one, actually.
It's a good book.
It was really great to kind of bring. Charlotte wasn't a writer on that one; she just came in to edit it, and it was great just to bring in that different perspective of someone, like, just to kind of see, like, what works and what doesn't work and everything like that. You got to kind of like, it's one of those things. It's you kind of got. I mean, I think this goes with a lot of writing. You've got to kind of leave your ego to the side and just go, like, what's best for the story and what's best. And when you're working on a shared anthology with a group of people, like, especially when it's a shared world, it's like you've really got to do what's best for everything, and for everyone else. And it's so that teaches you a lot of, then again, like, when the way I always work in it, I always work with beta readers for my stuff. Particularly longer form stuff, and so I like different bits of feedback, but you have to kind of trust your judgment as well when it's like one of the risks is when you're working with a lot of people is that people have a tendency to be like, well, I would have written it this way, and it's like, well, that doesn't matter, like, it's not your story. But when it's part of this kind of thing, it's like Charlotte was never like that. She was never like, oh, write it this way, because like that's how she would do it. It was more like, I'm more interested in this, can you do a little bit more of this here, or do a little bit more of this, or this doesn't quite fit. Here's an opportunity to tie this story into this person's or the wider world or anything like that. So it was always really helpful stuff.
I think that's the fun part of editing things, though. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, you had mentioned earlier, like, sometimes some writers, when they're doing these type of books, they'll wait to the last minute and they'll do it all, bang it out in a week. Are you speaking from experience, or?
I have done it that way before. I like to mix it up every single time I do one of these.
How about with this one? What was your style for this one?
This one, I kind of had an idea for it pretty much right away, and I did something different on this one. I kind of worked on this one over a longer period of time than what I kind of would do for a short story. So I kind of just, because I was working on a few different things at the same time. So I was kind of like, I'll come and do like just 500 words a day on this one, and just kind of really kind of let it develop and just do it over a certain amount of time. Whereas usually with a short story like at this length, I'd probably do it in a couple of days, 3 days max, or something like that. Just get it done. But I was very kind of sure of what I was doing with this one, and I was just like, I'm just going to do it a little bit at a time. So I started pretty much right away and just was like, well, I have 8 weeks or whatever, so I might as well just take the 8 weeks and just do a good job with it and see what everyone else is doing as well. It gives me the opportunity to course correct in case I need to as well.
That's awesome. Now, David, were you going to read as well? Yes.
No, I was just going to kind of tell you a little bit about what what it was, because it's my one is kind of it's kind of all kind of action. My one, and it's kind of it's people dying and stuff like that, and what have you. So my one is. So I'm really into Greek mythology, so I really enjoyed being asked to do this one. It was something that we kind of, I think we've talked about in a few groups actually that in the past, haven't we, Charlotte? Where it's like Kenny we'd love to do Greek mythology stuff. So this was really, really fun. And one of the things that I liked about it, I'm a big fan of westerns as well, and I always find like there's quite a good I think there's a lot of common threads between some of the smaller stories from Greek mythology that find their way into westerns, which I also find the same with Arthurian legend and westerns as well. I think there's connective tissue between all of them. So with my story one, I was thinking about these people that are kind of like the main characters kind of run away from the family and gone into hiding and just started a new life. So for me, that kind of was like, well, that's a western. So I was kind of looking at some things, and there was obviously one of the big things about westerns and is the last stand, and obviously it's a big thing with Greek mythology as well, like the 300 Spartans at the hot gates and so on and all that kind of stuff, which there's a bit more than 300, but we'll say 300 for thing. So I was kind of thinking, well, I didn't want to do it as that grand of a scale. I wanted to make it more of like a personal kind of thing. So I went towards like Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven kind of thing, where it's like it's a Unforgiven kind of that kind of thing, where it's like an older, more experienced kind of character kind of coming out of their hidden life that they've had to kind of go to ground for a little while to defend a settlement, and it's this like ragtag bunch of people against this horde of creatures that are being sent to her. So it kind of kicks off pretty much straight away. It opens like she owns a bar called the Nine Seas, because this is one of the things that Charlotte wanted to. It's like, we need to have the number 9. The nine's important and all this kind of stuff. And there's all these kind of other things in it. So like there's quite a lot of like nice little mythological touches in it. So it opens in this bar, and this character is kind of like confronted about her past and has to deal with it like pretty much straight away, and it comes into like a siege kind of last stand kind of situation. So yeah, it's kind of fast paced and deep down and gritty and a little bit dirty and a little bit messy and a bit bloody and all that good stuff. But yeah, it was
got all the good stuff in there.
all the good stuff, yeah. So I mean, that must be why it's in the middle, because it's just like, it's basically just 8,000 words of just action, basically. I don't know, I must have been in that kind of mood at the time just to do like a big action. Actually, no, I was writing something else at the same time. I was actually writing the Skybreaker story at the same time, Charlotte. So like, and that one is very of like reflective and quiet and very like, but again,
so you were getting the other side of things out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was like, I just do all action on this one, just do this. But yeah, no, yeah, it's a good one, and I think if people kind of like, there is that mythological side for it. It ties in with the rest of the story. There is like, it goes in with a larger thing. But if people kind of want something a little bit different, and it's, say it's got like that kind of Western kind of tinge to it as well. If that's what you're kind of into, then it'll be a story that you would like, a nice bit of action in the middle of the book.
That's awesome. So you want to hang out with us, David, or actually, Nick, did you have any questions you wanted to ask too?
Well, I just wanted to say 2 things. Okay, first of all, David, your story, it reminds me of, it's going to sound funny because not traditionally, but are you familiar with the history of violence?
Yes.
Okay, so your story reminds me of that in a lot of ways, because of exactly what you were saying, sort of having to directly confront the past and then sort of deal with the ramifications of that. And that was a very similar theme, I think, with the history of violence. And that's what it reminded me of anyway. So
excellent. I love that. I've never read the book, but I love the movie, and Viggo Mortensen's graphic novel. Viggo Mortensen's very, very near and dear to me. So I love that movie. So yeah, it's a good one.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention, Bay, is that like don't let the humility here fool you. Like both of these guys have projects out right now. Like I'm pretty sure you both have other new books out right now, right? So don't share that too. Let us know what you got. And David, you're like at the end of a trilogy, right? Like that's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'll let Charlotte go first because she was on first. She has a new release out.
Absolutely.
It is a big deal, so definitely come back to his. But yeah, I have another book. So this is my first book. So
Wow.
all right, I'm just very, very excited. It's like book. It's pretty. It's shiny. It's
It
like
is.
I also think it's very good. So this is a solo collection, a solo anthology, really, with fantasy stories in it, all written by me, which was a massive deal and came out like a week ago. So it's been a busy time.
Awesome.
But you can also get this on Amazon. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm reading it at the moment as well. It's great. It's really
Thank
great.
you.
That's awesome. Look at that. And how about you, David?
So yeah, I've had one thing out recently, and I've got another thing out in a couple of weeks. So I had I've got a crime thriller set in 1940s Santa Monica that is available on an app called Yonder, which is like it's kind of like Wattpad's version of Kindle Vella, and it's split into I think you get the first 2 or 3 chapters for free, and then you get credits and you can get the rest of the chapters, and that is called the Santa Monica Murders. It's the first thing that I ever wrote, actually, so it was nice to kind of get it out there, and yes, that's out now, if people, but it's only available, the Under app is only available in America and the UK and Canada. I think that's it. It's not available. It's not even available in Ireland, so I can't read it. I can't see it. So there's that. And that's very much like it's like kind of Chinatown-ish, like LA Confidential, that kind of thing. And I have the 3rd book of my fantasy series that is out on the 11th of April, and it's called Beyond Sundered Seas. And yeah, I think it's all right. I think, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm reading that at the minute, and it is all right. It's more than all right.
It's all right. Yeah,
I'm on chapter 6 of the Yonder story, and you already know how I feel about that. So
yeah, it's a good one. I have a lot of fond memories of that one because it was it was the first one I ever wrote, and it was I had no idea what I was doing, so I was just going, I'm just going to do this and see what.
No, have you ever been to the west coast of America, to California?
No.
No. So it's amazing to me because you do an amazing job for somebody that's never been there, especially with like the oppressive heat and these sort of people who've never been there often don't understand how claustrophobic it can be sometimes, considering it's so open and the ocean and everything. And you just do a fantastic job of setting the story. And I'm blown away that you've never been there.
Thanks very much. No, it was one of those things. It was I wanted, because obviously, I mean, you've read a bit of it now. So the main character is he's just come out of World War, a few years after World War II. So he's got what we know as PTSD these days. Obviously didn't call it that in the 40s, and he's obviously he's treating it with alcohol and everything like that. So I was kind of thinking, like, what's the worst thing when you're constantly hungover or in that state is heat, right? So. That's why I was like, I have to put it in Santa Monica because it's that, LA and that kind of thing. So I was like, but instead of doing it mostly set at nighttime, I was like, just do a lot of it during the day and have that kind of side for it. So yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I'm glad you're enjoying Beyond Sundered Seas. So yeah, I'll take a little bit of a break after that for a little while.
I want to say before we bring Geraldine on. It's an amazing community of support you guys have.
It is.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a rare thing to see. So it's very nice to see the support going on between you guys.
Yeah, it's great. No, it's really good. And like It's always good when anyone's having a bit of a bad time and everyone's like, yeah, I've been there. It's fine.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
The whole writing community has been so supportive and lovely. Just anytime I have questions about anything, because I'm fairly new, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing a lot of the time. I'm like, David, what's this? Within the group who's written stories for Eziliath, they've all been so supportive, like questions put in the group about anything, and people are right there helping. Obviously that includes Brandy, the publisher, as well. And since you've been on board, Nick, just so helpful, and everyone's just been amazing. So it's, really good.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's make the party a little bigger. Let's bring Geraldine on. Geraldine, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Thank you very much. Thanks. It's nice to be here.
Now, where are you at?
So I'm just west of Cairns in far north Queensland, Australia. So a place called the Atherton Tablelands. Not sure if it's actually reminiscent of rolling hills of Ireland, but it's hot. So,
I'm scared to ask, what time is it there?
it's actually 20 to 7, but I've been up since about 5 preparing for this, drinking lots of coffee.
All right.
So it's early morning.
So how did you get to become a part of this?
Well, I was really fortunate to be brought on board with this project, and it was kind of, I would consider myself subbed off the bench because sadly a writer had to pull out at the last minute for personal reasons. So for me, it was a really big thing to have to sort of take on, and I knew the writers were all waiting. They'd worked, sort of for a number of, or for a year at least, as far as I was aware, and so I knew that people were waiting on this last story. So unlike David, I just went bam, 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 bam. You've seen the meme of the cat at the typewriter, I'm sure, and I punched it out. And also, I guess for me, it was a little bit unusual because the stories were all there, and I kind of had to find another one that wasn't dissimilar. That was, I guess, my own stamp on things, like David was saying. But luckily I had Charlotte to help guide me, as well as another Aussie, Claire Roden, who and also Vicky from the UK to help me sort of find my way into the book.
Wow. So you were brought on last to this too, and like you said, it was already like a year in the process. Did you feel any extra pressure on you that that everybody had such a jump?
A little bit, yes, a little bit. But and especially given the caliber of the writers I was working with, so that was a little daunting too. But I just you've just got to try your best and do your take on a story. I can't say that there's a lot of Greek mythology in mine. It's in a desert world, so perhaps there's a little bit more Egyptian mythology, but I guess I tried to bring a new story to the mix.
Can I just say as well, like, she did an amazing job, like literally saved our bacon. As David mentioned before, the number 9 was really important. So obviously losing a story, we couldn't go on without another one. And Geraldine came in last minute and has written a fantastic story.
Oh, thank you.
Perfect. So she did a brilliant job.
That's awesome. Had you worked with Charlotte or David before, Geraldine?
I haven't worked with David yet, but I have worked with Charlotte before on an anthology through Nordic Press's imprint of House of Loki. It's a steampunk anthology, which is pretty cool for kids. And so I had worked with Charlotte with that, and we've become, good writer friends. So I guess I was pretty lucky, pretty fortunate to be brought on, even though there was a bit of a deadline, or not so much a deadline, but I felt the pressure that everyone had been waiting for a while for this, so I kind of wanted to get it happening, so that I wasn't, I didn't have other people waiting on me. But yeah, I had lots of help as well with Charlotte's guiding hand.
So let me ask you this, because I know this from being friends with Nick for many years and his writing. So I got to ask you this: Are you the type that is writing multiple stories at once?
Yes.
And that's amazing to me.
Yeah. I've got a couple of stories coming out in an anthology. I've got about 30 odd pieces. I was looking at recently. Yeah.
I was expecting maybe 3, not 30.
Yeah. Well, they're all short pieces, but I have been working on a Gothic novella in the background, and also I have a bit of a love for YA, so I've been working on young adult stuff as well. But yeah, I have a few sort of horror, stories. I've got one based on World War II female bomber pilots from Russia coming out soon, in a horror anthology about witches, which is exciting. It's called The Night Witches, because that's what the squadron was called. But yeah, I usually have a few things on the go, and I just find that works well for me because it just keeps me fired up, I guess. Yeah.
Now, when you get a situation like this, when you got brought on, at the last minute, do you go through like the Rolodex of your stories? Like, I wonder if there's anything I already have that I'm working on that I could maybe plug in here and change the pieces to make it fit and work?
Not in this case, because it was such a defined world, and there were so many other characters and other stories. So sure, maybe call outs, cold call outs. You might see anthology call outs that you might have something that could fit and just needs a bit of reworking. But this one, I really needed to, start from scratch.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did your piece take you once you got started?
So it's about 10,000 words, but wow. I think it probably took me a couple of weeks, I think. And then there was a bit of toing and froing with the editing, and I passed it through a few beta readers as well. So I guess that it was about 3 weeks. Does that sound right to you, Charlotte? It seems so long ago now.
I'd say about that. Yeah. But Geraldine is a writing machine, but everything she puts out is top notch. It really is.
I love how you guys are referring to them as short stories, but it's like 10,000 words. Like,
yeah,
it's mind blowing. Like, I struggle to get 6 for one of my stories, and you guys are just banging out 10,000 words and an amazing 10,000 words on top of that.
Oh, thanks.
For me, it would be when you said 6. I mean, literally 6 words. That would be my story.
That's kind of like, was it Ernest Hemingway, the 6-word story?
Baby shoes.
Yeah, baby booties. Yeah, never used for sale. Yeah, very sad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a talent in itself, writing something so short.
It is. Yes. Writing drabbles. Like, I'm actually, I admire people who can write drabbles and get not just a scene, but a whole story in 100 words. Like, I think that's a real talent.
Definitely.
So, all right. So, were you were going to read some too, weren't you, Geraldine?
Yeah, if you want me to, but if there's not enough time, that's fine too. We can just chat.
Please do. Please do.
Okay, well, I'll just start then. The Dead March on Avni. Given a choice, Vigdrek would never have targeted the kingdom of Kabusma, but his youngest brother Talos was insistent, and he knew well enough not to refuse. He bit into the succulent flesh of a spring lamb joint and listened, juices dripping down his chin. He and his brothers shouldn't have been so hard on Talos when they were children, for the runt had shown himself to be far more merciless and traitorous than all of them put together. There was an inky darkness in him none could hope to best. "Find the bitch and destroy her," Talos said, baring his teeth. "But in Caboose, my brother? Of all places?" "It suits you, Vigdrac," said Talos. "You'll barely need to lift a finger. Yes, though you realise it's hotter than my home in the below. Think of it as an advantage. You won't have to acclimatise." Talos ran his slow gaze over Vigdrac's large frame and sneered, "And drain a few mortals whilst you're there. You're not exactly in good shape at the moment, are you?" Vigdrac grimaced. Supping on the blood of a human was the only way to fortify his abilities. But he'd inherited his palate from his father rather than from his half-dead mother, and found the whole idea repugnant. He hated the taste, the smell, the mess, as well as the unnerving power surge that washed over him like a tidal wave. "You'd do better to accept your birthright, Vigdrac," drawled Talos. "There's strength to be gained there. Pure muscle, power beyond measure. If that avenue were available to me, I wouldn't hesitate." His top lip curled in disgust as he watched Vigdrac eat. "Yet you continue to stuff yourself with joints of lamb and venison, getting fatter and lazier by the day." Talos strolled over to his battle map and shifted pieces here and there. Draining scrawny old goat herders," Vigdrac muttered to himself as he reached for another joint of meat. "Sounds delectable." Talos spun on his heel, his icy stare cooling the blood in Vigdrac's veins. "I've given you Caboose, my brother, because it's the easiest of all the lands of Hecalus to overthrow. It suits your abilities and limitations. You should be grateful for that, not petulant. Go do your part for once, even if it means draining 100 desert dwellers and picking the sand from your teeth." Vigdrac made no further comment. To do so would be futile. Besides, his brother was right about one thing. Vigdrac was lazy, and the less work needed to enact Talos's plan, the better. He'd rally and dispatch the demigod whore as quickly as possible, preferably without raising a sweat. Be back in time for dessert. Something decadent and chocolatey would be nice. So, yeah, I'll just stop there, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to say that I've got more of me and Vigdrac than in the heroine, because I'm a bit lazy and like to eat between lamb joints.
I will say this, from hearing both of you read, this seems like a very, very intense story.
Yeah, there's lots of action and fighting. Pretty much, your heroine has to come up against a demon god. So yeah, it's intense and quite nuanced, I think, just reading some of the other stories that other writers have written. So yeah, no, it was an awesome project to be part of.
That's awesome. So will you guys have anything else that you guys are cooking up and working on together, or?
Not us two at the moment. We tend to beta read each other's work. And yeah, I have to put a plug in for Charlotte's book, because it is really good and covers so many different worlds and so many amazing characters and heroines that people are going to love it. I had the pleasure of beta reading that as well. So,
do you guys have individual websites for your work, or?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, let's please plug away, please.
Yeah, so you can find me at GeraldineBarella.com. It's pretty easy. Yeah. And Charlotte?
That's easier than mine. I think mine's WordPress.charlottelangtree.com. Don't ask me about technology. That's really really bad. You know what? I will look it up in the back of the book. So embarrassed.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
no, the other way around. It's www.charlottelangtree.wordpress.com. Oops.
Now, how about social media? Are you guys big on the social media to promote yourselves, or?
I use Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, same. And
No TikTok.
no, I'm not a TikTok fan yet.
You're not doing dances
again,
on
technology.
TikTok. Well,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So, all right. So, everybody, if as you're watching this, you can go right down below in the description is the link to the book. This way, you can just click it and order it right from Amazon. You can get the Kindle edition, or you can get the physical copy as well. Our amazing authors who all hung out with us today and contributed, thank you so much. Thank you for reading as well. That really puts it over big time. Nick, anything you would like to ask, add, or?
No, I mean, I just want to thank everybody for letting me be a little tiny part of this project. And I just want to, not just to you guys, not just to the authors and to Brandy, but to the listeners and everybody out there. This is an epic story. If you're a fan of the Trojan War, if you're a fan of Greek mythology, if you're a fan of any mythology, and you sort of you know that hero's journey, that epic, sprawling, multiple storylines and battles and heartfelt, it really does capture. Before you guys got on, I said to Bay that it was something new, but also something very familiar when it comes to the way mythology is told and the way stories are told. And I think that people that like any mythology are really going to gravitate towards that, because it really is, you've captured the essence of what mythology is supposed to bring to the reader. And that's so important. And I'm so impressed and I'm so proud of you guys. You guys did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Nick, and thanks for all your help with promotion and marketing. It's been terrific. And
Absolutely.
thanks, Bay.
You've been a massive help.
You're welcome. No, thank you.
Thank you for having us on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was a pleasure and truly an honor to meet you both and hear you guys read and to find out more about the book. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. Make sure you go down below. Like I said, it's right in the description. It's very simple. Just click the link. Order the book. What are you doing? Why are you staring at me? Order the book. All right, everybody. Have an amazing day, night, and hopefully we'll do this again real soon.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.